Welcome back to the opening bell. We've really seen a resurgence in IPOs and activity. It was, quiet for a while, but a lot of that activity for IPOs has been crypto-based, stablecoin. Joining me with all the details, Jannarone, editor-in-chief of IPO Edge. As we take a look at a lot of the names that we've seen thus far and some of the names that are featured going forward, how would you quantify this year so far?
So it's more about this month, if I can say so, Nicole. This month has been bonkers crazy. Up until the start of September, we were kind of on pace with last year, but the floodgates really opened. And as I discussed with you, I'm proud to say my prediction was right. When I was on your show about a month ago, I said it would be a big September, and it is. We've got one. It's going to start trading here in the next couple hours, Neptune. But as you said, the real action is around all the blockchain industry, crypto, and AI.
I mean, we've seen so many names. I was thinking about Circle and Gemini and more, right? CoreWeave,
yeah.
Figma. I mean, there's been there's a variety right there. But, which names stood out to you on the momentum that they've had?
Well, so Circle was a really, really wild one. It just kept going higher and higher and higher. You talk about a first day pop, it was more of a first week pop. It was unlike anything I've ever seen, really. And you know what a lot of guests like to say is that they left money on the table? I don't think so. I like to see deals trading well. It's just good for the entire environment because it's going to encourage other companies to go out. I mean, sure, they could have raised a little more, but right. The other reason why, I've mentioned this to you before, a company like Figma, and this is appropriate today because we have this private equity event, you've got institutional Silicon Valley investors behind these deals. Once they exit, it keeps the system moving. They'll go back, raise more money, and continue to look for more private companies to take under their wings and then eventually take public.
Sometimes some of these companies pop and then drop. I'm looking at the IPO ETF, which actually recently hit a high and has had an incredible run over 6 months, is up 30%, but it has now since pulled back a bit. What do you see going forward now between now and the end of the year?
Well, it's funny. There are some, like Gemini pulled back, but most of the others have traded quite well. I mean, look, you can't have a perfect market. I think that so many of them are trading so well that I'm very enthusiastic. Look, last night, we can talk about Neptune in a second. By the way, you're going to have the CEO on later, but I want to talk about Fermi. Fermi also priced this week. Now, Fermi is a 9-month-old company. Nicole, can you believe that? It was founded in January, and they are providing with natural gas power for AI facilities to crank through all this data. They filed on September 9th, and then they announced their biggest customer after they filed. So that just gives you a bit of a sense of the temperature of this market. It's extremely hot.
And people have companies for 20, 30 years and then go public. I mean, this one just was launching this year.
Yeah.
Do you remember the ticker on that? So we could look for it?
Fermi, it's trading on NASDAQ up in Midtown. I can't remember the
we'll look for that. When you talk about Neptune Insurance going public here today, NP, great initials right there. Let's talk about that kind of, the reception that it may get today.
So this is not in one of the buckets that we just went through. This is a flood insurance business. However, there's an AI element. So as your viewers may or may not know, most flood insurance is underwritten by the government, and it's not very profitable.
Right.
But these guys, thanks to the help of AI, have learned how to assess risk in a way that they're getting a much, much lower damage or default percentage than they would have historically. And so, of all the things, I mean, it doesn't sound like a sexy topic. It's flood insurance, but here we are. They just rang the bell, and the enthusiasm around this is tremendous.
When we talk about the money on the sidelines and private equity, and I was looking at something, how the wealthiest people were investing this year, and it turned out a lot of it was for private equity and trying to just work with companies that necessarily had not yet gone public or will go public. Do you expect more money on the sidelines to pour in next year? Is it going to be more AI, more software IPOs?
That's a bigger question as far as how far this AI boom can last. But for the time being, absolutely. I mean, I think Nvidia just hit a new high yesterday, so I don't see these trends slowing down. And what's interesting to me, Nicole, as we just talked about, is you're seeing AI appear in unexpected places, right? Like, who would have thought flood insurance? But there it is. So the applications are far and wide.
And when we think about Ethereum, blockchain, Bitcoin, I mean, we had a lot of ETFs come, stablecoin. Do you expect more of that?
I
Demand?
do.
Are you seeing demand for that?
Yes. So we actually just published a report that your viewers can download on our website about these digital asset treasury companies that are, as part of a broader strategy in most cases, buying some kind of cryptocurrency. And when it's Ethereum, they can actually effectively earn interest on it. So there's a yield for holding that. So we're going to interview Andrew Keys tomorrow up in Midtown at NASDAQ, if I can say that in here, who is the co-founder of the Ethereum machine. Now that's going public through a SPAC, but he's putting upwards of $700 million.
The Ethereum machine?
Yes, he's putting up, that's ETHR. So that he's putting upwards of $700 million of personal money into that. So it's the numbers are crazy.
Yeah, so that'll help with some of the stuff you have to put on the site and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, also we had StubHub, we had Klarna. There's just been a variety of names. Well, thank you. I mean, there are people who are still very hot. I see here Bitcoin could hit $1 million because the government keeps printing money like no tomorrow. Okay. Well, I don't know if that's true, but it is scrolling there. We'll see.
Nicole, one other thing I want to mention is we might have a government shutdown, which we have. It happened
overnight at midnight while we were sleeping.
Okay. All right. I was busy rushing in here. So that's not good for this market because you can't lodge filings with the SEC when it's basically closed. So people are a little bit nervous about that. And that's not, I mean, by the way, we're here for Tad Natchiff, who runs private equity here at the New York Stock Exchange, is hosting a private equity event. So I don't want that to rain in his parade. There's still a lot of excitement, but that is not a great thing to be happening.
So maybe a short pause. John Jannarone, IPO Edge, thank you. Great to see you.
Thanks,
and good luck with that interview tomorrow, too. That'll be interesting. Always gathering more information for us. We appreciate it.